Do is have the voir dire right now to see what Sergeant Bukhenik knew regarding that line of testimony you wanted to get into. So let's do that now, and then you can all work out the video issues.
Yes. Okay. May I inquire briefly?
Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant, we were talking before the jury left, we were talking a little bit about the conversation that you had with Michael Proctor either during or just before or just after that first interview with Chris and Julie Albert. What I'd like to ask you is, what information did you have and what did you ultimately learn about their relationship? You said there were some accusations and we never really got to the heart of it. What did you know and what did you do to investigate? What did you learn?
What I knew as we were walking up to the door is that he had knowledge of the individuals prior to us conducting the interview. I asked him if he knew them personally. My words, do you hang out with them? Do you socialize with them? He said, no, I do not. I said, are you comfortable doing this interview? And he said, yes. And me being a complete outsider and his supervisor and realizing if there was any impropriety that I would step in and recognize it, report it, and act on that. The interview was conducted without issue, and we moved on.
As a matter of fact, one of the things in Trooper Proctor's report, it said, the report started with following formal introductions. Did that suggest to you that Trooper Proctor had no knowledge of who Chris or Julie Albert were from a personal standpoint?
Not at all. I believe maybe I wrote the report, or was it him?
Yes, I think it is you. I think it is
yeah.
you.
So
May I postpone?
Yes.
Just so you have it.
Thank you. Yeah, since I authored the report, I wrote following formal introductions since I've never met them before.
Okay, so that was more attended to you than to Michael Proctor.
Correct.
Okay, but the report does say we introduced ourselves, basically. Following formal introductions.
Greeted, but I had formal introductions to them. I've never met them before in my life.
You said that subsequently you learned about, your word, accusations that had been made concerning possible relationship between Michael Proctor and the Alberts. What was that information that you learned?
When was it? I need that.
When did you learn it? I thought you said 2023, but I could be wrong. When did you learn that?
It was I believe, during the July motion proceedings when you guys had pictures up of children.
July of what year?
I believe 2023.
Okay. And what was it that you learned in July of 2023 about the potential...
The accusations?
Yeah.
That those were Albert's or McCabe's kids in the photograph with Michael Proctor?
Okay. Did you ever learn about personal communications that Michael Proctor or his wife may have had with any of the Albert family, including Julie Albert?
Ever?
Ever.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when you learned that and what you learned in that order.
Well, Michael Proctor had communicated with those individuals, Elizabeth Proctor communicated with those individuals due to the harassment that they've sustained.
Okay.
So with the crazy behavior that's been imposed on them and the torturous harassment that they've endured, the traumatic experiences they had to live through, they've communicated. So I've learned about that, yes. I was taking in all of that evidence, hundreds and pieces of evidence that I've archived in order to...
Go ahead. In order to?
Investigate it.
Okay. You're talking about Elizabeth Proctor well after the fact of the interview and the incident in 2022. That's what you were just describing.
It was after the harassment started, yes.
Which is well after January 29, 2022, correct?
January 20, yes, it is.
Okay. I'm asking about information related to a relationship prior to January 29, 2022. Did you ever learn about a pre-existing relationship that may have existed between the Proctor family and the Albert family before January 29th, 2022, and maybe a couple of days after?
All I know is that there was a relationship explanation provided by Mr. Lally during one of the motions, and it was like 6 degrees separated by individuals residing in the community, living in the community, raising their kids in the community, working in the community, so making them community members and having relationship within that. I don't know the extent of those relationships.
Okay. Did you, during that hearing where you said there were pictures of the kids and et cetera, that July 2023 hearing, did you see a post, a Facebook post, during the course of that hearing wherein the Albert family called the Proctor family their second family, or vice versa, where the Proctor family, Michael Proctor's mother, they've called the Alberts their second family? You remember that Facebook post?
I don't remember seeing that post. I just remember there was like a picture of kids that weren't Michael Proctor's kids.
Okay, but you were in court that day.
I was in court in July, I believe it was 23rd of July, for
Okay.
the motion, yeah.
Leaving aside the photographs that you talked about, did you see the post, the Facebook post about those two families, specifically Michael Proctor's mom, saying that the Alberts were their, quote, second family?
I don't remember seeing that post.
That didn't strike you, or that was not in your brain, in your head?
I don't think I've ever seen a post like that, so I just remember seeing the post of the kids.
What
I believe
about,
it was Miss Little that was holding up the poster.
what about the text messages, or what about any text messages between Michael Proctor and his sister concerning Julie Albert, very specifically concerning Julie Albert? Are you aware of those?
No.
Have you ever seen a text message between Julie Albert, between Courtney Proctor and, it's Courtney Proctor and Michael Proctor, where the sister says, Julie wants to give you a gift because you're doing such a great job leading this, meaning this investigation? Are you aware of that?
No.
Are you aware of a text message in which Michael Proctor responds, get it for my wife? Meaning, if you're going to give us a gift, get the gift for my wife.
No idea.
Okay. Are you aware of a series of text messages between and among Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor in which they talk about, between Michael Proctor and Courtney Proctor, in which they talk about Julie Albert? This is 10 days before the incident, 10 days before January 29th, so mid-January, where they talk about the possibility of Julie Albert babysitting for Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor's kids.
I am not aware of those text
This is
messages.
the first you've heard of any of those.
Of these text messages?
The text messages
Yeah.
that I'm describing, have you ever heard of any of those?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to or investigate the circumstance of the possibility, even the remote possibility, that Michael Proctor may have had a relationship with the Alberts that you were unaware of?
No, I never investigated anything like that.
So after your initial conversation with Mr. Proctor, where he said, I know of these people, and you said, is there any issue with you going forward? And he said, no, there's no issue. You took no further steps after that to investigate that relationship. And I'm talking about the relationship that existed on or around January 29th, 2022, not in 2023, not in 2024.
Once Michael Proctor stated that he was comfortable conducting the interview, and I asked him if he was sure, and he said yes, we moved on.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Last couple of questions. Were you in court? I know you're indicating that you've never heard about these text messages. Were you in court in February of 2024 following the federal investigation revelation, the documents that we got from both sides got from the federal investigation, which revealed and was revealed in open court the text messages about gift giving between Courtney Proctor and Michael Proctor? Hey, Judy wants to get you a gift, and Michael Proctor's response was, "Get it for Elizabeth, or get it for my wife." Were you in court when those were revealed?
Following the harassment, intimidation that I experienced on the 23rd, being followed into the bathroom, then being followed outside, I stopped coming to court proceedings due to that. So I was not in court in February of 2024 and describing the information that you're revealing. I was not aware of that detail.
All of these proceedings are televised, Sergeant. You know that, right?
I'm not aware that it's televised, no. I know it's streams, but I'm not aware that it's televised.
Okay, streamed. Whatever you want to call it. Streamed on the internet. You can find it.
You can, yes.
They're recorded.
Right.
Did you ever review the hearing in February 2024 talking about what's been referred to as the Fed dump and the revelations that were made pursuant to that federal investigation and the text messages attendant there too?
I am aware of a Fed dump. I'm aware that it exists. I was not privileged to any information outside of the information that was revealed to me during the internal affairs investigation.
Right.
That was the first time I saw documents from that federal investigation.
By the way, were you privy to Michael? There were three individuals involved in the investigation: yourself, Lieutenant Tully, and Michael Proctor. Is that right?
In what investigation?
The internal affairs investigation.
I'm aware that I was. I know they were as well. I don't know who else might have been involved. I don't know.
In terms of your awareness of Michael Proctor's investigation, you're aware, obviously, that he was terminated, correct?
I am aware that he's terminated, yes.
Did you ever see or were privy to any of the documents or investigative materials associated with his termination as his supervisor?
No.
So nothing was ever shared with you, the final decision?
Other than the documents that he was attached in the text message that I was shown from that investigation, nobody showed me anything of his investigation.
Okay, so let's wrap this up.
Okay, that was basically all.
Okay, all right. Do you want to be heard, Mr. Jackson?
No.
Okay.
On that.
Yeah, I'm not letting any of this in.
I think it's all admissible, but I understand the court's ruling was if he doesn't have personal knowledge of it and didn't have it then you're not going to let it in. It's over our objection, but that's been noted. Okay,
so you got your voir dire, and I'm glad we fleshed it all out. So you have to be back here in 35 minutes. Right? When's the jury coming back, Paul?